or the hide better off, cut in half. Make sure your thread is at the rear, okay?
Find the white line.
But with this rabbit, this is not a micro cut, this is just a regular strip, so this is all I had available. Wasn't able to order the micro strip, so what you'll see is, every one of your strips should be about this wide. What we're gonna do is you're gonna have probably like two, you're gonna have two of these, about 1.5 inches long, but what we need to do is, because this hide's pretty thick, when you look at this fur, see how the fur is gonna be angled in one direction? What we want, just like this, like when we tied the first one, you want the fibers that are folding, you want the fibers folding towards the tail. So it's gonna look like that. So this is how we're gonna tie. We're gonna tie 2 clumps on either side. But before we do that, your hide is pretty thick. So what we need to do is we need to notch. Basically just trim, create almost like a triangle, a tip. So right at your tie-in point to create less ball when we tie this material in. So you don't always have to buy micro cut. You can always buy a regular cut and just adjust it yourself.
Leave our thread hanging at the rear.
Yep, so when we do that, the hide's gonna be on the front side. So when you look at my hand right here, this is the hook shank. Here's the bend. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the clump. So it's gonna be the hide first, I'm gonna tie, but the hide's gonna be on the front side of this one, and then the hide's gonna be on the front side on that one. So basically, you're gonna curl in towards each other, okay? So it's like a pincher, set of pinchers with a crayfish. That's what we're going for. Yep, absolutely. Whatever you need. Nope.
And how far down the thread does it point?
Down to the bend? Yep.
One on one side, one on the other.
Yep, that's it. So that just curl in towards each other, just looking like a set of pinchers.
You want the fur towards the hook?
You want
The rabbit.
you want the hide tied against the hook shank.
Okay.
Both sides. Yep, and that will get the fibers curling in towards each other. So I'll do one here in just a moment so you can see what it's looking like. Yes. Exactly. So in your hand, I love it.
Pull your hat in, you're gonna cut it in two. You need to pull that and then cut it like that. Yeah. Alright. And then cut this into a
Yeah,
triangle.
my coach had your ears. Don't you believe I got tender ears?
Not the way you need it.
So when you look at this, folks, if you look at this, that's kind of what it's gonna look like. So the
Everybody
hide's
see
tied in.
this? Take a look at this. These have gotta be going back
So
this
it's
way.
right there.
To make your triangle cut in.
Yeah, so just curl in towards each other, okay?
But if you take some fibers,
Wait, what?
don't let it.
The fur is actually on the outside, the hide's tied
So
on the
maybe like
inside
this.
towards the hook shank. Just like,
Big little triangle.
Yeah, exactly.
You got it.
So you're gonna have one on each side of the hook.
Look at here, you got triangle point cut in.
Did you cut yours in two?
No.
Oh, you got cut in two.
That's.
How are you doing back
Yep.
there?
Yep, that's, I always use
Struggling a little bit. So,
One at a time, with this, I time in one at a time.
cut this in two?
Because the hide's so
Yeah.
thick,
So just when you get it like this.
really got strong thread.
Oh, I just thought.
Yeah, for bass, but
Each piece was,
or
okay.
you go to like Truckee River, some of the, there's big brown trout waters I
And
know.
then make a
they
point
they have a pretty
out of,
hefty
like
diet of
that,
crayfish.
like I did there?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, when people think crayfish, they definitely think more warm water, but there are plenty of times where I use this for trout.
You just cut that right in half like that.
Yes, sir.
You can notch it when you're done.
What's that?
Tie the strip in at the end of the hook.
Yes.
Okay, you got it.
And then make a point here?
Yeah.
In fact, even the lakes up high. Yeah, well, my grandson is catching fish, he starts catching crawfish. And he'll have banana cooking for
Just
him.
hook one on each side.
Yeah.
Bring your thread all the way to the back.
Call them crabby heads.
Keep it tight as you wrap
Yeah, there's. Now they just eat trout.
Cut it.
Drop one down so you have,
Sure that-
That's,
so
I
just
cut
cut
the
that
strip
one
so
down.
you get it, that's kind of the length that you're going for.
Keep it on that side?
I cut the strip, so that's kind of the length.
Before you do that,
But
On the.
He was saying about the-
Yeah, and you might lick your fingers,
That's far, that's good.
stroke everything
Yeah,
back.
cut the strips, kinda
That
give you
way
the
it's
exact.
clean when you put it on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the,
Yeah.
So what
Tight
we'll end up
down?
doing now is once, if you get your pinchers tied in, you're gonna take a piece of your kind of like rusty brown. This is the polar chenille. Now, when you tie this in, same thing, you will find sometimes, you'll often have fibers oriented in one direction. I kinda like, when you tie this in, if you tie this in like a hackle, most hackles, you want the fibers kinda going upward, the V going up, so what I'm gonna do is, these fibers for the
Tight.
most part are going up. So basically, when I tie this in, my fibers right here are upward. And I'm just gonna grab the very tip of this chenille, and I'm gonna tie this in right here, as
Give
such.
this about
But all the
5 or 6
fibers are
turns,
kind of
right?
angled upward. So when I grab this, if you look at this real quick, I'm just gonna tie this in, you can clean this up with the scissors. We're gonna tie this in right on the front side, right there. So secure that right in front of your pinchers. Secure that, and then take your thread and go all the way up to the bead, right?
Control it. And then just like that, 5 or 6 reps tight. Yes, like that. Okay, now put the other one on. That's it, pinch it tight, just wrap it.
Are you doing tight wraps or?
You're gonna do really tight wraps, you always,
Tight.
yeah, tight wraps. And make sure when you tie this in, you tie the cord, the main cord tight, because when we're wrapping this, this hackle or this type of chenille, we're gonna be applying a lot of force, we're gonna be actually stretching this cord out, so make sure that it's tied in nice and tight and it's not going to split around you.
Then I'll just take it like this, if you got it the way you want it.
Just tie it in, with the long ends towards the tail, sir.
Now he's attaching
Hold
this.
that back and tie that down, make a few more wraps. Hold it back, yep.
so go all the way to the front and then,
He's just attached it, just a short piece.
Yeah, keep winding a little further down. Down the ocean, because further down, the more body we're gonna get. Okay, so yep, once your thread's forward, if you look at this real quick, this is like, if you do this correctly, it's gonna be like hackling. Every time you wrap anything, it's gonna twist. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna be wrapping this like hackle. We're gonna be wrapping, and then you start seeing these fibers start twisting, we're going to just use your wrist and get the fibers perpendicular. So look at what I'm doing here real quick. This is gonna be important, otherwise it's gonna look like crap when you wrap this. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna hold it straight up in the air. Keep some tension, we're gonna stretch this. And then when you're thumbing your index finger, you kind of wet it, but I'm gonna stroke kind of the fibers back in one direction, okay? This is gonna be like a hackle. Now as I'm wrapping out, once I do this, the key is you hold the tip. Don't grab here. If you grab here, you're holding, basically tying the fibers down. So hold this out, grab the tip, we're gonna do a nice hand over hand, but you keep tension. After I make one wrap, we're gonna do wraps in front of each other. Take your thumb and your index finger and just kind of pull the fibers back. Take your time, there's no speed with this. But if it starts twisting, untwist it and wrap.
Perfect, just like that.
So these fibers are gonna stick out. And then if you have like a Velcro brush, you can also kind of pull it out, bend it that way.
We did.
And we're gonna go pretty much up to the
Or
bead.
top anyway. Just go all the way to the bead. Okay, that's where you're gonna end. Now just let that.
We're gonna tie this off,
Pull
go
it
in
down,
behind,
there you
just
go.
kind of weave in
Just
with
like
your,
that.
your thread,
That's okay.
secure that.
You're not
Stroke
gonna
it
get
again. When you make one turn, then stroke them back.
Okay, let's get a few more. Perhaps after.
And even with like your scissors, Velcro brush, you can sort of tease this out,
Pull it back in.
get those
Yeah.
fibers out.
That's it.
Have you got a ducking brush?
Yes. One good thing, those fibers are just on one side.
Just like that.
They are.
This up,
Men don't tie them in.
Side by side, all the way to the front.
untwist it.
Get her next to the bead.
Should we crowd the bead or should we?
No, because I wanna make sure you leave a little bit of space, because we're gonna be tying those rubber legs, okay?
Oh, okay.
So you don't wanna overcrowd it, but the big thing is you don't want to create too much of a cavity, because when you tie in the legs, if there's too much of a cavity behind the bead, the legs are going to kick out, so we want the legs to pull back, so. When you look at my thread, it's tough to see this with this camera, but you can see
Go
the
behind it.
height of my tie-in, or it's
Yeah,
kind of
like
almost like halfway, or maybe 2/3 up
Give
the
it-
height
really
of
good for my
the
ego.
bead right there,
That'll
so
lock it.
it's
You're
not
really
a
good
big
for my
void.
ego.
Does that make sense?
Perfect, now it's locked.
Oh, here I am, right, I'm here.
And then you just
Yeah,
slip
that's
this
all.
off.
Okay.
Yep.